one of the schools, the Langata Primary School, who claims that they've had land grabbed from them by a specific group of developers hoping to turn that land into a hotel. Their playground was in fact seized and a wall was built around their playground. So in conjunction with the well-known Kenyan activists who have staged very vibrant protests in the past, they had a protest this morning. It was broken up by police firing tear gas very, very close to the children, a number of children being injured, at least 2 being quite badly injured, we understand, and a lot of them getting tear gas in their face and up their noses and crying, etc. These children are primary school children. They're between 5 to 12 years old, and of course the matter is ongoing. What I can tell you, Dudu, is that the reaction has been very visceral here in Kenya. Obviously the opposition party saying that police were being too brutal, and in fact we have heard that the Inspector General of Kenya's police force has suspended the officer in charge who decided that they should deploy tear gas at that point.
And before we interrogate why police would use tear gas on, I'm assuming, unarmed pupils, why use children for this demonstration? I mean, who will be held accountable here?
Well, it's a children's playground, but as you know, there's 2 sides to every story. Indeed, these children were uniformed. It was their first day of school. It was sort of staged at 9:30 in the morning when they should have been at school. The teachers were present as well as parents, as well as activists. But indeed, they were there, and there were some rocks thrown, I believe, which could have perhaps led to the fact that the decision why police would deploy tear gas. However, when you are surrounded by, what looks like at least 100 children, very young children, you would think twice before doing something as drastic as deploying tear gas. There are other ways to disperse rowdy crowds.
You mentioned the outrage on the ground there, and there's been condemnation far and wide from all over as we saw these scenes on Twitter. But when it comes to the Kenyan authorities and the Kenyan government, what have they done about this?
Well, Judy, they have suspended the officer in charge of this protest. He would have been the person that would have had the final call whether to release the tear gas or not. But Kenyan police, having covered a number of these protests in the past, are quite quick to use tear gas on protesters, if not sometimes heavy-handedly. Sometimes the crowd is getting out of hand, and they do need to do that. And it does, of course, for people such as ourselves, news people, always make for dramatic pictures. However, going through some of these visuals and seeing some of the reaction from these children, and having been tear-gassed myself, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. And these little children are in a great deal of pain, and it is, of course, compounded by the fact that they are so little, and then the energy on the crowd at the time. There would have been a lot of pushing and shoving and people injured that way as well. So it really is quite disturbing, and there will be, I think, more heads to roll, as it were, in the coming days.